YouTube, YouTube, and everybody who watches this or share it, whatnot. What's been good? What's been going on? Now, I'm a title this video one of my terms that I came up with this year or sometime late last year that I like to call women, or just it's mainly geared towards German shepherds, but you can apply this to anybody. And I used this term in my last video that I made, Delusional Disney World. And I wanna make a video. Want to make this video kind of going into, that phrase that I came up with. And hey, if y'all hear anybody else using that term, man, just know it came from your boy. Nobody's using that term. Nobody's using this phrase. I haven't heard not one person on this app, on this platform, and in this sector use this term now, right? But y'all can go ahead and do y'all thing, man. Just remember who came up with it first. Not no Tommy Sotomayor or none of that stuff, but shout out to him. But cause this is gonna tie into, how this video. Cause I was watching some of Tommy's videos, and he was covering this one black chick on there that had 5 children and gave all of them up. I think she either had them taken from them or whatever. But she still has it. I'm at work, by the way. The grind don't stop. That's why you may hear some noise in the background. But she had 5 children, and all 5 of these kids were taken away from her. Had 5 kids by multiple dudes. I don't know how many baby daddies she got, but I'm sure it's more than one. So she focuses more on thinking that she's a big YouTuber or a somewhat of an online celebrity type of person. And it just also shows you the priorities, man, when it comes to these type of German shepherds and just these type of people, period. That being on YouTube and putting yourself in all of this unnecessary drama is more important than taking care of your 5 kids and getting your shit together. And then using mental illness as a crutch to be able to get away with being in delusional Disney World. Because for a person who gave up 5 of their kids, basically opted out of being an adult just to come online and to participate in something that's not really real like that, is one example of living in delusional Disney World. Because this YouTube shit is not really real like that. A lot of people come onto this shit and they play a character. They come onto this site and they play a part. They come on this bitch and they act. They're not really those type of people that they portray themselves to be. Half of them don't even show their faces unless they're looking a certain type of way. Like that one chick that Tom was covering. He said that and unless she is fully dolled up, put on the clown makeup, aka makeup, fake up, right? She don't even show her face half the time. But this is just one particular example of how you will have women out here who will skirt their responsibilities, but still want to act like they have somewhat of they think that they still have the same qualities that they had before they had those kids, and think that they're still just as valuable as they were before in the marketplace, in the dating marketplace, whatever. Living in delusional Disney World, thinking that she is on the status of a Beyonce or a B-list celebrity when you gave up all 5 of your kids, dog. And then on top of that, if what Tommy was saying is correct, that allegedly that these kids wanted to leave. So you was that bad of a parent that these kids didn't even want to be under your care anymore. But instead of doing any form of self-evaluation and figuring out what is it that I was doing wrong or that I need to do to step up my game as a parent and as a so-called strong mother and a strong woman, right? Nah, she went online and also bragged about it. So what, like, these type of men who knock these type of women up, what is wrong with y'all, man? Like, do y'all not vet these women or something? And same goes for y'all women. Y'all want to say how these men that y'all get knocked up by are deadbeats and all of these other negative labels, but yet y'all fail to, that just comes to show how bad your decision-making skills are. That you're terrible at making choices. Especially when it comes to men that you want to give your body to and that you want to give a baby to. You have a terrible vetting process, right? And you're reckless with your reproductive system. But you still have this mindset that, you still have this way of thinking to think that if I knocked this man, or this man knocked me up and all this shit, this kid is going to keep us together. Like your Sansa and all that shit, man. Who thought that? Another example of living in delusional Disney World, because you still think of these relationships starting and ending in some type of fairy tale type of situation when it comes to these relationships that y'all, first of all, y'all say y'all looking for a relationship. That's another huge form of delusion, because you can't look for a relationship. Relationships are created and built off of. Now, looking for a person to form a relationship is one thing, but looking for a relationship, that's another form of you living in delusional Disney World. You can't look for a relationship. That's like looking for a marriage. Stupid. And then you wonder why you don't really get any results like that when it comes to getting what you want relationship-wise or anywhere within that realm. So you further fall back into your delusions, because that's your safe space and it helps you feel comfortable, and it's easier for you to just put the blame on everybody else, because when you're living in delusional Disney World, you don't have to take any accountability. I mean, even though we already know that. That's one of the perks of being delusional. You don't really live in reality like that. You don't call out a spade a spade. Hopefully it ain't a truck. But yeah, I'm gonna go further in on, this example, or just this phrase that I came up with, because it fits. It fits with what is going on, not only within the dating scene, but just within major facets of society, period. With everything that's going on right now, especially last year and this year, because with this whole thing that's going on with the pandemic, a lot of people are still living in delusional Disney World, thinking that, oh, it's all going to come back. All these businesses that have tanked and aren't coming back, they're going to come back. Everything is going to go back to normal. You're delusional, because what was normal before all of this shit even happened? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, shit was already wrong and not normal before this pandemic started. Before 2019, before 2018, we're living in abnormal times. So y'all want to go back to that? All right, man. But main point, the fact that you have a woman, and she's not the only one. You have plenty. This is just one example of many. You will have women out here who will give up all of their kids and don't have to face any legal, social, financial repercussions for doing that. But let a man do that, though, and he will be labeled public enemy number one. He a deadbeat. He all that. But they can get away with that shit. Or somewhat. I mean, because now the tides are starting to change, where people are starting to call out the fuckery now. And I like to see that. A lot of people are starting to leave delusional Disney World and bring your ass out here into reality somewhat. But yeah, you still have a lot of German shepherds out here who think that they still are somewhat of a good and valuable person that a man should take serious after they done gave up all their kids. And they think that because they given up all of their kids, that now they look at themselves as someone who is more freer to go out there and just jump on, and end up starting the process all over again. That's what will probably happen, is that she'll probably go out there and get pregnant again. All right? Because that's usually what happens. But yet you got this, you got all of these German, not all of them, but you got these German shepherds out here who still want to tout this line about how it's mainly men out here who are trying to skirt their responsibilities and are deadbeats and not trying to take care of their kids and the shit that they produced and brought into this world. But yet it's cool for these German shepherds to give up all 5 of their children. And now you can say, oh, well, what about their daddy? What about this? That goes back to what I was saying earlier in the video. Now doesn't it? If you knew these men didn't want to be fathers or didn't want to have kids like that with you should have vetted them properly. Or you should have took precautions to make sure that you didn't get pregnant. If raising the first child was it seemed like an almost impossible task to do, especially by yourself, why would you go out and do it 4 more times? The first time is one thing. Okay, that's a mistake. But then 4 more times afterwards, that's a fuck up. And then you want to turn around and try to make excuses for it, and then go back and then go further into your delusions to try to make it seem like doing it 4 times again wasn't a bad thing. Obviously it was, because you gave all of them up. I mean, I'm talking in circles, but all I'm saying is that what I'm seeing right now, this term, it fits what not only I'm seeing, but I'm sure people who watch this and people who watch this shit sees as well, man. Because for the ones who tune into the ratchetness on these certain sectors on YouTube, man, y'all see it. Come on. Y'all see the shit for what it is. And you got a lot of these Negroes who also live in delusional Disney world, because they still are trying to give these German shepherds a shot, and they're still trying to get pats on the head from their asses, because they still think that they're still simping. They're still simping, and they don't understand the value within themselves in comparison to these type of women out here. Up here struggling. Got all these damn kids, and that can struggle to take care of them. And can barely take care of those kids that they have now. But somehow they're more valuable than you are. And you believe that shit too. Which is why you're going over there and being a goddamn guard dog and attack dog for these German shepherds. So you can get a pat on the head and get coochie coupons, man. Stop that shit, man. Like, it's 2021, man. Take your power back, man. Especially if you aren't a willing participant in delusional Disney world with these fucking German shepherds, and you out here doing your own thing, and you don't have anything attached to them like that. Why are you doing that? Why are you emasculating yourself and enabling these German shepherds to continue to live in delusional Disney world? Because they use y'all simps and y'all saps and suckers to fuel their delusions, which is why y'all be still calling them queens and shit. Because you can be a queen in delusional Disney world. You can be whatever the fuck you want to be. You don't have to live in reality. You know? You can be a queen, you can be a king, you can be all that you can be all of these arbitrary labels. So that's just a little diatribe, man, on the term that I like to use and I like to quote when it comes to the thought process and just the mentality that a good bit of these, not all, I'm not saying all, but damn it, it's enough to where it should be addressed. to where a good bit of these German Shepherds out here are still walking around with their nose sticking far up in the air and their heads way up in the clouds, and thinking that men are just still out here only thinking with their lower heads and not trying to take their power back, and realizing that, hey man, I don't have to deal with none of this shit. I don't have to deal with this. I don't have to come on this dating scene and try to maneuver around the dating scene, or just dealing with women or just whoever on their terms. I don't have to do that if I don't want to, especially if I'm not benefiting from it in any way. And getting coochie is not a benefit like that. Especially, like, how is getting something like that that's free a benefit? Because you're giving up something that is more tangible and more value than that shit. Then getting so-called vagina, because it's not hard to do that. I mean, I know for some of y'all it is. But for somebody like your boy, come on, man. So that's just one of my this is just one short video, man. I gotta get back to it, get this easy money. And remember, gentlemen, and for the ladies who see this shit, look, if you start coming across some dumb logic, just know that that person, they are still checked in delusional Disney World, and they love it there, because reality is too much for them to deal with. They can't handle it out here. They can't handle the raw truth, so they rather just regress into their made-up fantasy world that they still want to believe, that they still want to project on out into the real world, which is why all of these conflicts keep happening. And then they keep believing everything and every person that they see, right? And then instead of thinking logically and using discernment, they just go off of their emotions, man. And what emotionally driven. And that is another thing that a lot of people who live in delusional Disney World thrive off of, is their emotions. Off of what makes them feel good, magical and shit. But yeah, man, y'all have a good one, man. Peace.